Welcome to the Arizona Tourism University. This month's webinar is on our new brand. We will be having Lisa Arias, our director, present, as well as our partners, Jamie Dempsey and Julie Hamilton.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see you. Many familiar faces and some new. I am Lisa Urias, and I'm the director of the Arizona Office of Tourism. I wanted to make sure that we started off by letting folks know how we started this process of developing a new brand for the state, and to let you know that we have had so much success with the brand launch of the state. And I think in part because of the specific strategy that we engaged in and the kind of process that we took that you'll learn a little bit more about today. Most importantly, as I've worked on branding many corporations or government entities, large nonprofit organizations across the region, we've really centered in on how do you ensure that your key constituents are truly invested in the brand that you develop. It's easy to put out a new mark, a logo, for example, and people see it and they may or may not identify with it at all. We've seen it happen. I think many of you have seen it happen with brands like Gap or others, where they put out a new mark and people were confused about where it came from, why it happened, what was the intention behind it. And so it was really important for us at the Arizona Office of Tourism when I first started in this role to talk about, the fact that Arizona has had many marks over the years, many different logos over the years. And in fact, within the state of Arizona, the 32 cabinet agencies that report to Governor Hobbs, we had about 12 different logos that were out there. And so were the people of Arizona really able to understand the work being done on behalf of the state for them? So it was really crucial for us to find a way to get to a brand that would really resonate with Arizonans statewide. So that was our first priority, was to really identify the target audiences. So the first one we started with was Arizonans. We wanted to make sure that Arizonans owned the brand of the state of Arizona. The second audience was, of course, tourists, because that is our role at the Arizona Office of Tourism, to ensure that people across the country and around the world understood what we have to offer, who we are, what values we hold, what we see as the most essential and important components of the brand of this state. And then the final one is, of course, business and others who might be interested in coming to Arizona for foreign direct investment, for moving here, or for business attraction. So those were the principal target markets that we identified. The second thing that we did was to hire two really key agencies. One, of course, was the branding agency. We put out a task order for a brand agency, and we made it very clear that we were not looking for a logo or a tag in the proposal. We were looking for an agency who would walk through this discovery process with us. Agencies often don't get that. A lot of agencies feel like, oh, we're going to do a rebrand. They just want to come up with ideas without any sort of discovery process. And I knew for certain that I needed an agency that understood this discovery process and that would work very intentionally with us on that process. And so we were very fortunate to hire Heart and Soul, who you'll hear from today. They have done a lot of brand work over the years and have a great team of professionals, creative professionals, but also strategy professionals who understood the process that we wanted to get to. Because as you'll hear from them, a brand is also not just about a logo, but it is really about identifying the core of who you are as a state or as an entity, and the attributes that you want amplified within that core. What are the things you want people to understand about your place, your product, your service, whatever it is? And then the last piece, and probably just as important as any of the pieces, is the piece of community engagement. Whether you're working for a corporation or you're working within a community or you're working for a particular service industry company, you need someone who can help you connect with your customers at large. So when you're working for a corporation, for example, you'd want to connect with your employees. You want to connect with your board. You want to connect with your customers. You want to connect with every level of the organization, from C-suite down to community engagement. And so that's what we intended to do here with this brand development. So we hired Welcome Strategies under Jamie Dempsey's role and leadership. And that is another piece that you'll hear about today. Very intentional work. When you're leading a brand process, you don't want to be the one to do the engagement part, because it's very difficult to listen if you're trying to do the community engagement piece or the customer engagement piece. You really need an organization that can help you interface and help navigate those sometimes very challenging waters. People have very emotional reactions to brands. Anytime any brand changes, you can see these emotional outpourings, whether, positive or negative, and everything in between. And I have been so blessed to have this team of professionals working with Arizona Office of Tourism and the team of colleagues that I have here. So it's going through this process, really taking time to understand what it is that you want amplified within your respective communities that can make a very successful launch of a brand or a very challenging one. And I will tell you that we have been incredibly proud to say that 32 state agencies are under redoing their brands to follow the brand of the state of Arizona, in addition to the 200 plus boards and commissions that were not asked to include this brand within their logos, but we have had an overwhelming response of them wanting to include the new brand. We've also had 50 million media impressions across the country and around the world about the new brand. And so the majority of it being very positive. Heart and Soul is already winning awards for the brand work that they produced for us as a result of this process, and we assume there will be more to come. So we are incredibly proud of the work. We think it's going to be something that we can all amplify moving forward. I'd love to see more of our DMOs incorporate all of it, if not some of it, within their look and feel of their place. I see what Mexico has done, for example, with the Mexico brand at the federal level that goes all the way down to states and cities and towns and their pueblos mágicos. It's incredible. Everywhere you go, you see the same brand throughout their country. Obviously, we're just dealing with the state of Arizona, but we'd love to see more of it amplified within the state as well. So with that, I will turn it back over to Tyler to introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So next we are going to have Jamie Dempsey from Welcome Strategies. She's going to be giving an overview of the Discovering Arizona campaign, as well as the community engagement processes and outcomes that resulted from the Discovering Arizona campaign.
So my name is Jamie, and the firm that I share with my colleague, Alex Nelson, is called Welcome Strategies. We are a consulting firm based in Phoenix that focuses on community engagement and high impact community investments. I think the only thing that's important to know about our background and how we came to this process is that we come from arts backgrounds. We're both practicing artists. We've both worked in philanthropy and public sector investment, and we've both worked statewide our entire careers. So we have a very deep and abiding respect and love for the power and potential of Arizona communities. We've been called recently. We've been told that we come into these spaces unbiased, and that's one of the reasons that we're successful at getting people to share their perspectives. And I actually push back on that a little bit. I think we do have a bias, and our bias is that our bias is community voice, and helping communities define themselves so that they can thrive in the ways that they want to. And often that means engaging a broader audience of stakeholders than may typically be involved in planning or engagement efforts. And we try to do that in what we hope are uplifting and creative ways. So I'm here today to talk about the year-long listening tour and community engagement that we led as part of the state of Arizona's rebranding. I just wanted to share that the images that you'll see in this presentation are from the listening tour. So maybe you'll see some faces and places that you know and that you love. This particular image is from the Bisbee Royale. This was a session that we did at the Historic Theater in Bisbee. So what are we talking about when we talk about a community engaged process? A community engaged process is a partnership or dialogue between groups of people. It is collaborative versus top down. And what we mean by that is that tourism could have very easily chosen to hire an out-of-state marketing firm or to develop a logo and then send it out to everyone and say, here it is, everybody, here's your new logo. They could have even traveled around the state presenting a new brand to communities, but they chose instead to collaborate with residents across the state. And we'll talk a little bit more about why in a moment. We believe that this is essential to the effectiveness and eventual success of plans and projects. And some of the benefits of a community engaged process as we see them are distinctiveness. Maybe let's place these benefits in the context of a brand campaign. So I'll start with distinctiveness. Engaging stakeholder communities can provide your region with, I'm just gonna pause for a second while I catch up to my over-caffeinated self. Thank you. Engaging your stakeholder communities can provide you with rich data and opportunities to lift up your region's unique assets through an array of voices to ensure that your brand is distinctive and relevant. Meaningful storytelling, a true collaboration with your stakeholder communities can help you craft a rich, nuanced, and true story that you can tell about yourselves to demonstrate your unique assets and opportunities. Buy-in is a really important benefit of a community engaged process. So it's not just about fact-finding and the generation of data, it's also about creating a sense of belonging to the community or the effort and to the eventual outcome of a campaign. It broadens your network, creating more opportunity for diverse stakeholders to feel invested in the process and the outcome. And it creates more opportunity for those invested stakeholders to become evangelists for your refreshed brand. And in another sense, it's also insurance. If you create lots of opportunities for people to be involved in your development process, it becomes a little bit more difficult at the end of the process for them to say they had no opportunity to be heard. Another benefit is a unifying framework. A community engaged process is important, particularly in a coalition effort or one that endeavors to represent a range of community perspectives. In that sense, a community engaged process can also help you leverage regionality, share great ideas, or even share resources. Further, and in the specific case of this effort, the hope was that the eventual brand could be leveraged by an array of stakeholders, that tourism and the state of Arizona would put in both broad and deep work so that maybe other stakeholders could make use of the findings. The Arizona Office of Tourism's community engaged process manifested as Discovering Arizona, which was rooted in storytelling from the outset. And for us, for Welcome Strategies, and for our partners at Heart and Soul, for the whole team, the assignment was clear. Ensure that the development process is broad, that it goes deep as well, that it is productive and generative, and that diverse stakeholders have accessible and various opportunities to share their perspectives, that they feel like engaged contributors to the new brand identity. And so Lisa spoke a moment ago about the audiences. The target audiences were residents, visitors, and businesses. And then drilling down a bit further, key stakeholders in the process are as follows: residents, cities and towns, tourism industry professionals, local businesses and nonprofits, potential Arizona businesses, future Arizona businesses, the governor's office, and agencies of the state of Arizona. The discovery process included several elements. It was launched at the Governor's Conference on Tourism in 2023, and also included interviews, surveys, research and analysis, most of that conducted by our partners at Heart and Soul, and then listening sessions, which were virtual and in person, conducted in sites across the state. And you were able to follow along via social media as the journey was shared across social media channels. When we talk about the spirit and approach, it was important to us to encourage connection when we were connecting with these stakeholder groups, to build a sense of belonging and ownership and ensure that the brand ultimately reflected the uniqueness of Arizona, its people and places. And to do this, we took what we hoped was a balanced approach, that it was not just about industry experts, but inclusive of industry experts, as well as residents, community leaders of all kinds. And we were thrilled to have, as part of our assignment, the explicit instruction to engage audiences and stakeholders that might not typically be asked to be involved in a process like this. And further on spirit and approach, it was important to us to ensure that people felt heard and a part of something greater. And so we tried to lead with resident perspective. And what we mean by that is that often industry experts like yourselves and like so many people you know, you're steeped in your industry's research and analysis. And sometimes people come to those conversations with what they think works instead of what moves them, which can be far more powerful. A blend of what works, what you think works, and what moves you can be far more powerful. We also focused on assets and potential. And what we mean by assets and potential is that we focused on what is working, what is unique, what is special, as opposed to the challenges that communities face. All communities face challenges, and it was not, we were not intending to make those challenges invisible, but we thought that there was a lot of power in what makes everyone's community special, unique, and what inspires residents. And so here are some of the questions that we asked, again, from the premise that a focus on assets and potential would be generative. What inspires you? What makes you most proud? What is important to preserve and protect? What is true that someone might find surprising about where you live? And why? What do you want to amplify? What is the story together we'd like to tell? As I said, stakeholders and residents could follow along with the story of the development process via social media. There are a beautiful range of short videos from many of the listening sessions. And so we hoped that we were that we were helping to network people together so that they felt like invested contributors, even if they weren't attending listening sessions. And I'd like to share with you a couple of the initial outcomes before we get to the resulting brand. We interviewed 82 people. That again was mostly managed by Heart and Soul. Almost 1,500 Arizonans were surveyed. We saw almost 500 listening session participants. And so that totaled 2,000 Arizonans directly engaged in the process. And that, of course, doesn't count all of the Arizonans that were following along in the process. Some additional outcomes by places. There were 57 Arizona cities and towns represented in the development process across all 15 counties, by the way. That's always important in Arizona. And the number of cities and towns that we visited in person was 22. Everywhere we went, everyone said they have the very best sunsets, and sometimes they wanted to fight about it. They really wanted to fight with Phoenix about it, which is fun. And then one community that said that we have the very best Mexican food in the world, which I thought was so hilarious. By the map, these are the places that were represented in the process. So you can see that tourism, Heart and Soul, and Welcome Strategies together, that the state of Arizona in this process, we tried very hard to go to where the people are. And again, to repeat a point, we don't think that this is only about something that's nice to have. It's essential. This kind of community engaged process generated such rich data. It was through this process that information and perspectives about color palettes emerged, information about language that was resonant with Arizonans, unique points of pride or focus. Arizonans often lifted up for us visual, geographic, cultural, or historic points of pride that maybe don't always receive the most intense spotlight, but that perhaps with a little investment or focus could be leveraged for significant return on investment. And Arizonans generated common themes. My colleague Julie will explain more, but in our experience, in these listening sessions, there was remarkable alignment on a set of 6 themes. And those themes were majestic beauty. We are a beautiful state. There was remarkable alignment, again, on vibrant arts, culture, and experiences. And this is perhaps the broadest umbrella theme because it includes our arts and culture, yes, but also our recreational amenities, our outdoor recreation, our sports, our robust food, wine, and beer culture. This theme actually is the broadest umbrella. Everywhere we went, residents told us how proud they were of the abundant diversity of our people and places. They said, we are a welcoming and warm people with a welcoming and warm climate. They also said, we have strong connections to each other and to the land. And finally, they said, we are an innovative, mavericky people, Arizonans. So I'll close my section of slides with an image from our listening session at the Route 66 Museum in Kingman with stakeholders from across Mojave County. It was a joy and honor to have worked with so many Arizonans on this process to construct our next story together. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague from Heart and Soul, Julie Hamilton, to tell you more about how all of this discovery manifested in a brand. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me pull up my slides here. As Jamie mentioned, my name is Julie Hamilton. I have the good fortune of representing an amazing team at Heart and Soul with a lot of work that's been done over the last year in conjunction with AOT and with Jamie and Alex. As Jamie mentioned, these listening efforts were not only comprehensive, but they have been truly influential in the work. I, like Lisa, have been part of a lot of brand projects in my career, and none has been as comprehensive or as authentic or from the ground up as this has been. It has truly been a real gift to be a part of that process. Everything we've produced thus far and everything that we continue to produce is directly inspired by the input of Arizonans, including our narrative, but also our visual identity. And so that's why you see change in design on my slides. We want to represent that transformation from listening to manifesting a new brand that was built for and by Arizonans. So there's a lot of things we could talk about. There's a myriad of facets to this brand as has already been established, but let's talk a little bit about today's conversation specifically. As well, I would love to spend the afternoon with you all. I'm not sure you want to do that with me. So all right, so today's conversation is going to be all about how do we own the narrative for Arizona. It isn't going to be just one group or entity that is going to help us shape perceptions. It's all of us singing from the same song sheet. Doing that ensures that we're not only harnessing the power that Arizona has to offer, but it ensures that our great state is top of mind for our audiences. We are just a couple days away from fully launching all the various aspects of the visual identity itself. And so that conversation we'll save for another day. It is for sure its own conversation and definitely a deep dive that we're happy to dig into with everybody separately. Jamie spoke earlier about the outcomes of our listening efforts. And as I said, that input has truly impacted every facet of the brand work, including the foundation of the brand. If you were at GCOT, you heard us go through this framework in detail. I'm not going to do that today because we're going to spend a lot of time on the pillars. If you weren't there, here's the headline. Every good brand has a solid foundation that defines its characteristics and the direction of how that brand will be articulated. We've captured that foundation in the form of a house with a new vision for Arizona articulated here at the foundation of our house model. The important element for today is the pillars, which you see in the middle. Out of the listening efforts came forward 6 pillars that really summed up what makes Arizona so compelling, not just for visitors, but for residents and even businesses who are considering relocating here. These pillars are think of them as the heart of the narrative that we must tell in order to paint a complete picture for Arizona. But it's not just about speaking to those pillars. We need to speak to them through a lens or a theme, if you will. That lens for us is the new narrative articulated as Vibrant Arizona. Now, what does that mean? What is vibrant? Why vibrant? Vibrant is the energy and enthusiasm driving our communities, the unforgettable hues of our landscapes, and the flourishing possibilities of our industries. Vibrancy means fostering a place where residents, visitors, and businesses alike experience a life of happiness, growth, and enduring memories. This testament of Arizona is uniquely ours. More than that, it also puts us in a position to push against some of the misperceptions of our state. We've all heard the headlines or have those things we wish people thought differently about in Arizona. If I had $1 for every time I heard somebody say green, nobody thinks about us as green, or we are not a barren desert. So many times over and over again, Vibrant Arizona as a larger narrative gives us a way into telling a new story. And what's important is this story allows us to speak to different audiences, pulling different levers. So as Lisa talked about at the beginning, our goal first and foremost was really to understand how is Arizona meaningful to residents. And in our case, vibrancy for residents means Arizona is where families build lasting memories and communities flourish with a sense of togetherness. From radiant sunrises to colorful sunsets, everyday living here offers endless opportunities for local adventures that fill life with bright joy and excitement. Vibrancy for visitors, because of course tourism is so important to our business. It is our business. Every visit offers vivid experiences. Try saying that 5 times fast. From the striking pines and red rocks of the north to the serene desert beauty of the south and everywhere in between. This is where stunning landscapes paint the horizon with a gradient of brushstrokes you'll remember forever, where you can create memories as colorful as our state. And when it comes to vibrancy for businesses, this is where industries are filled with growth and opportunity. We are all feeling that pulse, that momentum, from passionate small businesses to microchip manufacturing and construction booming across a backdrop of bright skies and energetic communities. Our state is a canvas for business success, flushed with the hues of potential and progress. So we have this larger story about Arizona through the lens of vibrancy that enables us to showcase the fullness of the state and reiterate all that's compelling about us, no matter who you're speaking to. So I want to spend, I'm just looking at doing a quick time check on myself here. I want to spend the bulk of my time walking you through how do we leverage this new narrative to ensure that we're driving home things about that Arizonans told us are the best parts of us. I want to be clear that our goal in this is to give you a framework to think within, not to constrict you. This is not, we're not dictating by any stretch of the imagination. We just want to give some tools for people to leverage. Each of us are brand ambassadors for Arizona in our respective roles. It's our job to ensure we're putting the best foot forward to represent the state in whatever capacity you are showcasing it. Think about all of us singing from the same song sheet. We may all be singing different parts of the song, but together our collective efforts make up that song. So if you think about Vibrant Arizona as a song we're singing, the pillars being the different parts of the song we sing together, that helps shape a new perception about Arizona. So let's dive in. Quickly, just to kind of a way to think about this information, because I'm going to give you a repeatable structure for each of these pillars. So it may feel a little redundant, but I find it's helpful when we're dealing with strategy and translating a brand narrative out into the world. Having kind of an easy framework to follow is helpful. A couple things to think about as I go through these. First of all, find your storylines. What are the pieces of this framework that are most relevant to your area of focus? We have people with a lot of different backgrounds and jobs on this call. I don't want you to feel like you have to use all this. You do not. Second, make it your own. Define your own unique proof points that work within this framework to leverage accordingly. I'm going to give you some high-level proof points for each of the pillars. Those were certainly things that came up in all the listening sessions and all of our research efforts. They're not meant to be conclusive. So just meant to be a catalyst to help you understand the types of things that fall into this pillar. And third, keep it simple. Don't feel like you need to boil the ocean. Start with 1 or 2 pillars that will work the hardest for you. Okay? Let's start with our first pillar, majestic beauty. So majestic beauty is about Arizona being a place where natural beauty captivates the soul. Of course, we know that. Our vibrant sunsets, our vast Sonoran desert, lush pine forests, variety of mountains, valleys, canyons, make Arizona a unique and breathtaking playground for the body and a feast for the eyes. There are a myriad of proof points for this. Now, the number one thing everybody thinks about, of course, is the Grand Canyon, but we all know that the story is so much richer than just the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is amazing, don't get me wrong. However, there's more to the story. Whether it be the saguaro-dotted Sonoran Desert, whether it's the 22 national parks and monuments and 35 state parks, colorful sunrises and sunsets that give way to star-filled dark skies, our commitment to sustainability to preserve the land that we all love and hold, and that beauty that we all hold so dear, are just a few of the reasons to believe, if you will, or the proof points that make majestic beauty a key pillar for us. Now, how do you think about majestic beauty when you're talking to various audiences? So when we're talking to residents, you want to highlight how residents' daily lives are enriched by the stunning landscapes and outdoor activities that are available year-round. And again, this is from high level. We're not going to get too deep into the woods, but I want to just give everybody a little bit of a working framework. When we're talking to businesses, how businesses can leverage picturesque settings for events, marketing, and employee work-life balance. And when we're talking to visitors, how do we paint a picture of the diverse and awe-inspiring landscapes awaiting them? encourage exploration of the national and state parks, hiking trails, and unique natural attractions. That's majestic beauty. Vibrant arts, culture, and experiences. This pillar is all about how Arizona is bursting with creative wonders to experience. This pillar highlights our state's diverse offerings in food, art, music, sports, and entertainment. To Jamie's point, this is the broadest pillar. From professional sports teams and iconic events to colorful art exhibits, bold dining experiences, and outdoor recreation, Arizona is a vibrant destination for experiences that are always full of life. Just a few of those proof points that came up in the conversations as we went through a process. Of course, our Indigenous history and contemporary Native American culture, practices, and crafts. Arts, museums, theater, music, outdoor art installations, sculptures, and gardens are, of course, our big-time sports events. The extensive culinary scene and outdoor adventures, whether it be hiking, biking, golfing, boating, you name it, we have it here. Whether you believe it or not, we do. So how do we talk about this pillar when we're talking with residents? We want to highlight the pride in Arizona's unique cultural heritage and the unique experiences that are part of everyday life. When we're talking to businesses, we want to focus on the diverse entertainment and dining options that enhance quality of life and create opportunities for business events, as well as exciting adventures for employees off the clock. And when we're talking to visitors, we want to paint a picture of the diverse experiences, world-class events, and outdoor adventures that make Arizona an eclectically unforgettable place to visit. Every time I have a conversation with somebody, the thing I say, whatever you think about Arizona, it's so much more. It is so much more. Our job with this narrative is to help get more people to believe that there is so much more here. And our third pillar, abundant diversity. This pillar is all about how Arizona thrives on its rich diversity. Our state's history is enriched by Indigenous, Hispanic people, where our landscapes range from desert floors to forests and mountain peaks. This diversity creates a vibrant mix of activities and fuels a dynamic economy, making Arizona a place of endless possibilities. Just a few of the proof points that came up in our listening sessions. 13 ecosystems within a few hours drive statewide: desert, forested, mountains, canyonlands, volcanic plateaus, glaciated peaks, and river plains. Indigenous and Hispanic culture bears with rich languages and cultures. Growing economic base from advanced manufacturing, healthcare, bioscience, autonomous vehicles, you name it, it's booming here. Diversified employment base due to diversified industries, and there is an endless variety of things to do, unique cultural outings and experiences. So as you're thinking about how might you talk about abundant diversity to our various audiences, if you're talking to residents, we want to highlight how residents' daily lives are enriched by the stunning landscapes and outdoor activities that are available year-round. We always talk about golfing in the morning and skiing in the afternoon. You have the ability to do that here in Arizona. Emphasize the opportunities when it comes to businesses to thrive in various industries due to Arizona's diverse economic base and population. Underscore the work-life balance that can be found in a place filled with such natural and experiential diversity. And for our visitors, this is all about encouraging visitors to explore the rich tapestry of Arizona's history, culture, and experiences. Again, an unexpected component of Arizona's story lies with our rich history and culture. Welcoming warmth. This pillar is all about how Arizona's inviting climate and hospitality really truly define this component. From Nogales to the Grand Canyon, our abundant sunshine makes fall, winter, and spring full of outdoor opportunities. And beyond the weather, we have this spirit statewide of hospitality that makes no matter who you are, feel at home. And so whether that's the warm weather that attracts everybody from businesses, residents, visitors, etc., sunny days that lead to better moods, better sunny dispositions, and optimism, whether that's the longstanding multicultural population that provides a sense of belonging and community, how friendly, neighborly, and inclusive we are as a state, and even thinking about things like award-winning resorts and spas. There is a place for you here, no matter what you seek, no matter who you are. So when we're talking to residents, we want to emphasize the comfort and joy of living in a place where the weather and community are warm year-round. When we're talking to businesses, we focus on the positive, pro-business, welcoming environment for growth and the appealing climate that attracts customers and talented employees. And when we're talking to visitors, we want to talk about the relaxing, sunny climate and the friendly, welcoming atmosphere that makes visitors feel at home the moment they arrive. Am I doing on time? Okay. Strong connections. This pillar is all about our extensive infrastructure, canals, highways, airports, utilities. It ensures easy mobility and access for all. Our strategic borders with Mexico and California open doors to commercial and cultural opportunities that enhance our state's appeal. We're also very connected in proximity, from sunny resorts to ski slopes. You can golf in the morning, ski in the afternoon, making us all feel deeply connected to our land and all the ways we live, work, and play. We have a strong modern infrastructure, highways, energy grid, canals, light rail, mass transit, airports, our proximity to California and Mexico for commerce, international trade, and tourism. We have different topography within short distances. Again, deserts, lakes, valleys, mountains, canyons. It truly is unlike anywhere else. There's a strong work-life balance, so you can work close to where you play. And Indigenous people and communities that are so connected to the land and their rich traditions that also help us develop a deeper appreciation for that as well. So how do we talk about strong connections when we're talking to residents? It really is about the ease of access to various areas and the strong sense of connection to family, community, and tradition. When we're talking to businesses, we want to mention the state's connectivity to major markets and the opportunities for business expansion, highlighting the ability to feel strongly connected to your career in a place that is filled with both beauty and opportunity. And when we're talking to visitors, we want to emphasize the diverse landscapes, the topography, and the ease of exploring unique parts of the state. Trailblazing ingenuity. This pillar is all about how Arizona is a leader in innovation and progress. From semiconductors and advanced manufacturing to healthcare and ecotourism, our state is at the forefront of global advancements. Arizona's culture of meritocracy and our streamlined development fosters an environment that removes barriers to let innovation thrive, which is truly unique here. We have a history of trailblazing leaders, whether it be Sandra Day O'Connor, Bruce Babbitt, the Navajo Code Talkers, Motorola, etc. Sustainable living, water sensibility and conservation, solar and ecotourism and farming, cutting edge industries, advanced manufacturing and healthcare, bioscience, semiconductors, clean and renewable energy, including EV and AV, higher education institutions and workforce development, aviation, astronomy, aerospace, space exploration, defense, and a business environment that truly supports innovation and entrepreneurship, public, private, and civic. So how do we leverage this pillar? When we're talking to residents, we want to highlight Arizona's history of innovation. That gives residents a chance to contribute towards and benefit from the culture of progress. We are a young state. To be able to be a part of the momentum, what's happening now, is truly appealing to those that are here and those that are considering moving here. When we're talking to businesses, we want to talk about our long history of innovation. It's not something that has just started. This is in our DNA. From indigenous tribes, engineering waterways, to the countless men and women who have carved new paths of discovery, inspiring modern trailblazers to continue driving innovation and steering our world forward. That is who we are. And when we're talking to visitors, we can showcase the innovative attractions and eco-friendly tourism options that are available for visitors. 6 different ways into our narrative under our overarching umbrella of Vibrant Arizona. Collectively, if we're leaning into these pillars, regardless of the audience we're speaking to, we have a much better chance of ensuring that our state is positioned not only to be the destination of choice for visitors, but to be a place that all Arizonans are proud to live. But again, this isn't about you needing to hit all these pillars. Find your storylines within this framework that are most relevant to you and your respective business. Make it your own. Our proof points are meant to be representative of the state. They are not all inclusive. There's plenty of room for you to identify your destination or the role that your business plays within these pillars. Feel free to lean into that. And lastly, keep it simple. What's most important is that we're working together to purposely shape the narrative of Arizona together. Start with a few pillars that are most relevant to you. And I think that's all I have, and I finished on time. Tyler, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jamie. Those were excellent presentations. Now we have some time for question and answers. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll ask them out loud so everyone can hear it, and we'll do our best to answer.
Or if they'd like, maybe they can just come off mute, right, Tyler, too?
Yes. Anyone have any questions?
This is Lynn from the Coolidge Chamber of Commerce. One comment I just want to make, you're really making this easy for us to get on board, and I appreciate that, because sometimes a smaller chamber, we don't have a team. We are the team. So thank you.
Lynn, you're so welcome. And I'm glad to hear that, because that really is our intention. We are going to make this presentation available. Of course, it'll be on our website. And we also have a playbook that we'll be distributing out to anybody who wants it. It's primarily for people within the state, but we're happy to send it to everyone who's on the call today, so that you have the outline of how to effectively use the brand. And as Julie mentioned, not everybody will need to lean into everything. You may have certain things that you feel like that really works for our community, this part of it, you know, the majestic beauty or the ingenuity or whatever part or two that you think work. And then you can use that language as much as you'd like within your branding for your communities.
Do we have any other questions or comments? We have one from, looks like Martha San Miguel, an Arizona citizen living in Sonora and working in media promotion, in the media promoting the state of Arizona. I am proud of this new vibrant Arizona. It's an Arizona for everyone, and I'm happy to promote it.
Yeah, Martha, thank you so much. You have done such a beautiful job. We put Martha's last article in our Tourism Tuesday, and whether or not you read in Spanish, it is just a manifestation of what we've seen from our partners across the world who've really responded in such a wonderful way. And we want to thank you for all of your support. One of our international partners, when we showed them the full brand work, they said, now we can compete with all of the other markets that we have to compete with from, you know, Europe or wherever it is. So we've gotten from the media around the world. Should also let everyone know that on the Arizona Office of Tourism Industry channel, the YouTube industry channel, is where you can find all of the Discovering Arizona videos, as well as the explainer video on the new logo and the 3-minute state brand video. Anybody can use that. If you want an embedded link, please let us know. You can use it. We just had someone reach out from Waste Management saying they wanted to use it for their sponsorship development for the waste management coming up, but it is available for you to use. And we are working on a shorter version because we know everybody probably needs something a little closer to a minute or so. So we'll be getting that done within the coming months. But in the meantime, please feel free to use those videos or to just take a look at anything if you are trying to learn more about the process.
If you think of a question or a comment after the presentation concludes, you can send it to the email address for Arizona Tourism University, which is atu@tourism.az.gov. Thank you for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar.